Welcome to Miffs. I'm Matt Huss.
And I'm Dan Rhodes. Whether you know about Theseus or you're revising your syllabus,
If you want tales with a bit of jest, or you just want to hear about incest.
What?
What? It's really interesting.
Welcome to Miffs. Welcome to Miffs.
Hello and welcome to episode 116 of Miffs Podcast, and actually the second episode of the of Miscellaneous, which is pretty cool, isn't it, Dan?
It is pretty cool, yes.
And that's episode 4. Put it down.
Sorry.
I
I
just
hadn't done it in a while, so I just wanted to do it.
You just love a good blow, don't you know?
I do. Mm-hmm.
And how are you, mate? How's things?
I'm good. I just chilling. Very sunny here in Wimbledon today.
And so what's new with you, Dan? What's new in the world of Dan Rhodes? It's been pretty busy, I imagine.
Oh yeah, doing all the stuff.
Like, what kind of stuff have you been doing?
Oh god, it's hard to. Okay, where do I start? So, obviously, you know that in my spare time, I'm a professional hitman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so we're doing one of these things today. Okay, good to know. Yeah, okay. I'm going to just take a sip of my coffee. All right, you're a professional hitman. Yeah, go on.
And as you know, coronavirus has hit our industry hard.
Being furloughed as a hitman?
So I've been furloughed from that job now, which is obviously I got made redundant from the travel agency one, and now I've been furloughed from my other one. And to be honest, that was giving me quite a steady income, the hitman one.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? Just the worst.
Tell you what, Dan, it's I know a lot of industries have been hit hard, but the hitman industry. So we're gonna have to let you go because it's been stealing our clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, the problem is everyone's indoors, so it's really, really hard to normally you stalk people after work, make it look like an accident.
Although I think it'd be quite easy. Just say you're like the gas man and be like, kind of go and poison the tea. See you later.
Yeah, but they're like family at home, and that's like come on, Matt. I wouldn't expect you to understand, but that's like a no-go for hitmen. You don't do it when the family are around.
Oh,
I'm a nice, I have morals, Matt. I just kill people for money.
That's your business card, isn't it? Like you hand them a business card and go, "Hi, I'm Dan, the dignified hitman."
Yeah, that's my USP.
Digny hit, yeah. It could be called Digny Plus or something like that. Yeah, that's cool. Who's your favorite murderer? Who's the favorite person you ever murdered?
My favorite person I ever murdered. Oh well.
This is right for the Dangerous Dan file right here.
Yeah, this is a top up between something funny, like a famous celebrity I know who's died, or something horrific that I'm going to make up off the top of my head.
Well, why not a bit of both?
Let's toss a coin.
There's a lot of verbal chess going on here, listener.
Yeah, do I make a joke and say something horrific like?
God.
Yeah, or do I just end it there and say that was funny enough in its own right that I even thought of that? I mean, neither of that's going to be it anyway, so it's all good. Normally, obviously, it's frowned upon us hitmen to speak about this so openly, but I've heard no one.
Magician.
But no one listens to this podcast, so I'll be fine.
Yeah. It's kind of like hitman never reveals her tricks. You know what I mean? If you're out of the artery circle. You know what I mean?
I just hope that, what I don't want to happen is I don't want anyone who's listening to this podcast then becomes a serial killer and makes a business card called the Dignified Hitman. And I'm going to have a lot of questions to answer for when the police are like, okay, but you did say, and I'll be like, no, it's obviously a copycat. And they're like, copycat? That means you've done it before? I'm like, no, please. Oh, God.
Okay, there's 2 talking points there. Firstly, listener, if you would like to get away with a free murder, just print out a business card saying a dignified hitman, kill someone, and pin it on Dan, Bob's your uncle. Let's see. We give so much to our listeners. We give them a lot of content for free. We give them interesting stories. We give them one free murder a year. You know what I mean? It's pretty decent. You know what I mean?
Good times.
Yeah, but also secondly, what I like, do you reckon our podcast is the kind of podcast which would inspire a killer? Because, people can take different interpretations of different things. Like with George Harrison, he wrote Piggies for the Beatles on the White Album, and that was hugely influential for Charles Manson and his murder spree as well. So, would you reckon that this podcast, and specifically which episode of this podcast, would make someone go on a murder spree?
Probably episode 8.
The Weet-Bix challenge.
Yeah, I think you would just be like, what is this? I'm out of here. I am so enraged right now. Like, if someone was barely holding on to their mental health and they listened to that episode, I think they'd probably snap. I think you did even during the podcast.
Yeah, listen, there's a video of me because I filmed that challenge and I've never bothered to upload it because why? Because it's just really stressful to watch. It's basically me staring at Dan for an hour and he's sweating profusely, going, "Oh, I've had a lot of milk." So yeah, it's no, thank you.
And also, you have to carry 70% of the podcast anyway, let alone that day.
I mean, yeah, that day was 99% me. The rest of the podcast episodes is probably 95% me. So yeah, you're the podcast fluffer of this podcast. You know what I mean?
I am. Thank you.
Shall we go and deal with our podcast today?
Let's do it.
I mean, that was a weird intro, wasn't it, mate?
That was, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how much of that's usable. We'll find out when it goes out.
We'll see you on the other side. So Dan, did you like our brand new jingle I made for Miscellaneous Season
I did
3?
very much so, yes.
I had a lot of fun making that. I went for a very Oasis vibe. Could you tell?
It was a bit Oasis-y, actually.
All around the world. Yeah, I thought I'd go. I when I recorded it, I pretended I was swaying quite a lot, having like my parker on, stuff like that.
Just quickly before we get into it, how just before we start the I am interested to know this. Because I think I know you quite well.
Yeah.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not much, 10 being very, how much fun do you have doing the jingles and how much do you get into it?
Okay, what do you think my response is going to be?
Well, I just want to quickly mention, I think when I listen to these things that I can tell that they're made by a Matt Hoss that said that he wouldn't spend a long time doing them because he's got a busy day and then spends hours doing them.
That is literally what happens as well. Because I start off the morning and say, you know what? I've got GarageBand now. Beforehand, I would have to plug in all this stuff. And for example, the American jingle one, that took me ages. Well, actually, that one didn't take so long, but I had to plug everything in. Do you know what I mean? I manually created it. But now I have GarageBand, so I can kind of do these things. So I'm like, you know what? It'll probably just take me 20 minutes. And then about 5 hours later and a lot of swearing, it's done. So, yeah.
And we're all the more grateful. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, you know what? People don't give me enough credit. I think what we should do is do a whole Miffs episode where we just listen to the jingles. That'd be quite good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, all 10 minutes of it. Matt!
Well, I can make it. Yes.
Do you remember what happened last episode?
Oh, genuinely? Okay. We haven't recorded for about 2 weeks. Have I thought about this myth since then? No. But let me try and remember. So we talked about Ra, the sun god, who is a
sun god.
Yeah, he was a sun god, and then he created a new world. He had 4 kids.
He did.
Have I missed? That was there was like people like brothers and stuff like that. Shu and Tefnut, Geb, Nut, like lots of people like the Earth and the Sky and stuff like that. Am I right?
Yeah. So we had. Yeah, just quickly, we had Sun, because this basically, the reason this recap is this episode is actually a continuation of last week. So
cool.
Last time we had the sun god Ra. He was lonely, so he banged his shadow, if you remember.
Oh yeah, which I used afterwards.
Yeah, he had two children, who then in turn had brother and sister, who then in turn had 4 children.
Okay, cool. And
yeah, those 4 children were Isis, Osiris, Set, and Nephthys or Nephthys.
Or
So
as I like to pronounce it, Nephthys.
Nephthys.
And that's the god of fertility, is
Nephthys.
Osiris.
Yeah.
Isis, the mother goddess. Seth is the god of Set is the god of evil, and Nephthys is the goddess of death. So quite 4 intense children there.
Now, do you remember that Osiris and his brother Set, they had a little argument, didn't they? And Set ended up cutting him into a million pieces.
Yeah, it was a birthday party gone wrong, wasn't it?
It was a birthday party gone wrong where he made him go in a coffin. Anyway, he scattered his body. Now, do you remember the others, Osiris and Nephthys? Obviously, they felt sorry for their brother, so they stitched him back together. They tied his wounds in linen, created the first mummy. He is now the king. He's no longer the god of agriculture. He's now the god of the underworld. Do you remember he got given a new role?
Yes, I actually think it's officially the king of the afterlife, not the underworld. So
King of the afterlife. Sorry.
It's a distinction between Egyptian and Greek mythologies.
Thank you.
God, you know what? I absolutely destroy Poons. Sorry.
So he's now in the afterlife. Now, do you remember that secretly Isis and Osiris, because remember they're brother and sister, but still these 4 seem to be all like, they seem to be married up. So Osiris and Isis secretly had a child. They had a son, Horus.
Oh, yes. Horus.
That Set doesn't know about. So in the last episode, what happened was they had Horus and they hid him away until he was old enough to challenge Set for the throne. Because as we start this myth now, Set has been king of the king of the gods for a while, and he doesn't know that Horus, his nephew, is actually around. And this starts with, we're going to see what happens when Horus comes out of hiding. He's now an adult and he's ready to challenge his uncle for the throne. And this is that challenge, Horus versus Set.
Dan, that was an excellent recap. Thank you so much.
Thank you. When Horus was born, he was hidden away and kept safe from his evil uncle Set. When he became of age, Horus finally confronted Set. As the son of Osiris, Horus presented his claim to the throne to a tribunal of 3 of the most powerful deities in the Egyptian pantheon: the sun god Ra, Thoth, the god of wisdom, and Shu, the god of air. Now, Thoth and Shu are so it's essentially his great granddad and his grandparents, isn't it? Really?
Okay, and also, right, and here's the thing we're going to talk about immediately, right? So Horus is like, okay, as soon as I grow up, I'm going to go and challenge the king by any means necessary. And if it was Greek, Roman, or Norse, immediately he would go over and try to stab that king.
Yeah, they'd have a full-on fist fight.
But what happens here is that it's like, okay, I'm actually going to do it by the law. I'm going to set up a tribunal. You know what I mean? It's far more official, isn't it?
I'm going to get my great granddad and my grandparents, because they're like the eldest. I'm going to get them to set up a little tribunal.
You know,
very cute, isn't it?
Horus, I like him good. I like him a lot because he's like a pencil pusher. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's an officer. He's a middle manager. He doesn't want to rock the boat too much. He's quite meek, but I kind of like that. We need a meek god. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what he's essentially doing is like, hey guys, hey Nan, hey Granddad, come on, please, I'm trying to do this politely because I don't want to upset you, so if we could just agree that I'm the rightful ruler, that'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, cheers, thanks. I've just put my application in, hopefully you'll read it, and do give me a call back in 4 to 8 months.
Thoth and Shu declared Horus the rightful ruler of Egypt, but Ra argued that Set was more powerful and therefore deserved the throne. Oh, okay.
Can I do the voice of Set?
Yeah, please do. What voice are we going for Set? This is the first time we've had to do his voice, so...
I think as God of Evil, I think he's going to be quite like, the throne is mine! Something like that.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Is that alright?
Oh, I was thinking that, or like a posh English villain that they do in movies, like a Bond villain.
Could you do an impression of that? Because I just want to hear it.
The throne is mine by virtue of my strength.
Oh, I prefer that, actually. That's good.
He's cunning, isn't he? Because remember, we know he's a bit cunning by his party and stuff. He's not downright creepy. He's actually quite dignified and powerful.
You will never defeat me, James Bond.
Like a Scar Lion King type vibe. That's what I get from
Yes. Yo, Dan. Oh, God. Why aren't you in work as an actor? Please, for the love of God, mate. Can someone hire him? Not me, though. Okay, I think you should do it, and I'll do the narration around it.
Okay.
I'll be Horus if you want.
I think the Scar Lion King vibe is what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
The throne is mine by virtue of my strength.
Set, set.
Let Horus prove that he is better than I, and he can have the throne.
And I think Horus is also quite a strong voice, and what I think he should
He's
sound
quite
like
young,
is,
Horus, isn't he? He's like in his 20s.
challenge me to what you will, I'll prove you the weaker.
Okay, maybe not.
He's the meek god. He's the meek god. Come
But he's
on.
also quite powerful. It's just that he's young because he's just been in hiding until he's old enough to. So he's probably like in his teens, 20s. He's not.
Fine, I'll do it more chilled. Challenge me to what you will, I will prove you the weaker.
Horus declared.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that was nice. Set decided that the first feat of strength would be to have them both turn into hippopotami and sit on the bottom of the Nile. The first to come up for air would lose. How do you feel about that challenge, Matt?
Okay, that's so. Like, essentially, it's who's going to drown first. You know what I mean? And also, I don't know why they're doing all this. Like, the thing is, I like the Greek and Romans at the best times, but they had some stupid traditions. But one of their least stupid traditions is if you had a disagreement with someone, just kill them immediately. Why are you doing all this? Why is this like feats of strength? You know what I mean?
Because there's a tribunal. There's a he's doing this. You said you like the democratic way of doing this.
I do, but like I also want them to murder each other. But then again, you can't really say, oh, let's have a democratic process. Let's turn into hippopotami and sit at the bottom of the Nile. But yeah, okay. I think it's pretty. It's, you know what? It's very creative. We have to say that. That's I like that a lot.
Isis, desperately wanting her son to be pharaoh, magically created a copper harpoon, which she threw into the water. However, her aim was slightly off, though, and she hit Horus instead of Seth.
God, what a stupid asshole.
So she's tried to create a harpoon and she's missed and killed. She's hit her own son, which is the one person she wasn't meant to hit. There's only 2 people down there.
Oh my god, that is so stupid. And like, imagine coming up with that plan. You can think of any other plan which is a bit more less foolhardy, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to throw a harpoon. Oh wait, it's hit my son. I've just harpooned my son. You know, that's very similar to the Caledonian Boar, where he throws a javelin and it hits his friend.
Yeah, his friend died, yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing this, she pulled free the harpoon and cast it back into the water. This time, though, it sunk into the body of Seth. But the injured...
How is that allowed? Sorry, how is that allowed? Like,
I don't know.
We're trying to have this tribunal system, which is, okay, if we're going down that line, fair dudes, at least honour that. But they're cheating already. That's mental.
But the injured god appealed to Isis as her brother, and she caved and helped him. So, hang on, just before, because it's about to get weird. So... she's hit Set. Set's come up, and because obviously they're all incest, aren't they? So Set and Isis are still brother and sister. He's like, sister, come on! Like, I know you want your son to win, but come on! Like, I'm still your brother. Like, why are you being a bitch? And she's like, okay, I feel sorry. You're right. That was really undemocratic of me, right? She's realized that she was wrong. There's a fair tribunal system happening here, and she's ruined it, and she feels bad. However, her son Horus, enraged from her helping her. Set emerged from the water. He wasn't worried about losing the first challenge. He was focused on taking revenge on his mother for what he felt was a clear betrayal. Horus cut off Isis's head, carried it up a mountain, and tossed it away.
Oh, there we go. Tell you what, Egyptian mythology, it's bringing it in bags, isn't it? Wow, okay. Well, literally, you got to put a head in the bag. But, wow, oh my God, that's intense, isn't it, man?
My favourite line from that is where it says, no longer focused on losing the first challenge, he was just enraged by his... So he's actually he's that angry at his mum that he's going to sacrifice this first challenge just to behead his own mother, who in fairness, was trying to help.
But, right, hold on. But this is what I mean, though. Like, if he's more angry at his mum for harpooning him, which is a bit annoying, than for Set from killing his dad and taking his rightful airship. Do you know what I mean? He could have just done that to Set, and it could have been game over, done. But no, it's like, I know, I'm going to murder my mum who's helping me.
Yeah, he's got mummy issues, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever cut off your mum's head?
Not recently, no.
No. Okay, fair enough.
So he's cut off her head, thrown it off a mountain. Fear not, though. One of the judges, Throth, picked up Isis's head and reunited it with her body.
Okay, but so reunited's definitely the wrong word there. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, look, we've cut off your head, but we've reunited it to your body. It's like, it's not attached though. Do you know what I mean? It's still a massive wound there. Do you
But
know what I
that
mean?
is why it's good that we have this tribunal, because these three powerful judges, Thoth, Shu, and Ra, they're obviously like kind of making it fair. So I guess in the name of the game, they're like, look, that doesn't count because this is a part of a like. They're basically fixing all the problems that are going to happen.
Okay. Anyway,
Tired from decapitating his own mother, Horus went to sleep on the mountaintop. Set snuck up and gouged his nephew's eyes, burying
Jesus
them in the
Christ.
ground.
Oh, this is going to get a high WTF score. I know that for sure.
Overnight, they grew into lotuses, obviously.
What?
Taking pity on the blinded boy, the cow-headed goddess, Hathor, and someone we haven't heard of, by the way, has just come up, came to Horus's aid, pouring gazelle milk on his wounds and restoring his sight.
What the fuck is going on,
That's
mate?
all happened
Right?
in one day, by the way. That's just challenge number 1. That's day number 1.
Right,
There we go. That's the end of day number 1.
So, firstly, imagine you go to your garden, pluck out your eyeballs, put it in, and an hour later you got lotuses. Like, imagine that for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and also, who is the cow-headed goddess Hathor? We haven't heard of her. She's just popped up. Are there other gods watching? Is like all of Egypt watching this, basically?
I imagine this is like their entertainment for sure,
Yeah.
and also I think there's a lot of animal-headed gods. But here's the thing, right? It's a cow-headed god, right?
Yeah, I think I know where this is going.
But they pours gazelle milk.
Yeah, that's rogue.
Like when is she? Like, that's not her own milk. She's gone off, found a random gazelle, poured it in his eyes.
She's cow-headed, so she doesn't have adders. I guess she's got the body of a woman.
Yeah, but still, I think, why gazelle milk? You know what I mean?
And also, who knew that pouring gazelle milk on your open wounds would make your eyes grow back?
Right, next time you have a medical emergency, you just have a tub of gazelle milk in the fridge. Goes, don't touch it, don't touch it. I know it's a broken leg, but here you go. Why have you put custard on my leg? Oh, it's not worked. Let's go to the hospital.
Can I just say, though, so this democratic thing's failed miserably because Horus decapitated his own mother in rage, and the gods fixed that. Then Set, in rage, blinded his nephew, and the gods have fixed that. So basically, they're just fixing every time they, like, get unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's very fair, but maybe that's where the strength comes from deceit and stuff like that.
I think both have a red card at this point.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think maybe Hathor should be the pharaoh, because I think that's Hathor's my favorite character thus far.
So that was kind of day number 1 of the challenge. So Matt, what happened next?
The judges wanted the two gods to make amends. They did reconcile, but the wily Set decided to seduce his nephew. Because nothing says romance more than, sorry, gouge your eyes out, you fancy a beer. You know what I mean? No one's going to swipe right after, like, you poke their eyes out.
Yeah, I think this is about to get weird, so have fun.
But also, like your mum's just died, and Set's sister just died, and you're like, you know what, let's bond by shagging each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I kind of like the fact that, like, they're gonna have a gay relationship. That's pretty cool. That's interesting. So Set wasn't discriminate in his liaisons. In the world of ancient Egypt, there wasn't any real conception of homosexuality. What mattered was who was on the top, the one doing the penetrating, that proved dominance of the other person. That wasn't ad lib. That was genuinely written down in front of me, and I think Dan chose me to say that on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah, I want you to read this section out.
Oh God! Oh my God!
So basically, I was reading about this. In ancient Egyptian culture, it seems like they didn't really care much for homosexuality. It was just that they saw whoever was doing the giving, so to speak, was the dominant, and therefore was the more powerful, was the male type person in that situation. So in him if he seduces his nephew and tries to sleep with him, he can prove that he's more dominant and therefore deserves the right to the throne, I think is the logic.
And that is an odd. I mean, that is an odd plan. Now that's like, imagine because Like, why would you think that's a good idea? Do you get me? Why on earth is that the bet? You know what? I'm going to seduce my nephew, and then I'll show him who's the real winner. Yeah, I'll be the real best king of thieves when I have sex with my nephew.
I wonder if it's because Seth knows that maybe he's not going to beat Horus in the like physical challenges, so maybe that's why he's trying to go down a different approach.
Well, he's going for a different physical challenge.
Yeah.
But well, you know what? Like, actually, like, although it's steeped in, there's kind of there's still a veil of kind of there's a veil of bigotry there to say that there's one dominant to the other. But actually, genuinely, the first time in the whole of our podcast that there's kind of like a homosexual relationship. Although it's not, I don't think that's a good thing to parade. Bear in mind, it's between an uncle and a nephew.
No, but... I mean, we did have Zeus and Ganymede, but that was a little bit more paedophile vibes.
Well, let's not talk about tight buttholes here, Dan. Okay, so anyway, and also the whole of the Egyptian pantheon is watching this, going, "Yeah, that's fine." You know what I mean? Like,
no, like this is important. Actually, this next bit is he does in secret. Seth does away from everyone else.
In the evening, a bed was prepared for them, and they both lay down. But during the night, Seth caused his penis to become stiff and inserted it between Horus's thighs. Then Horus placed his hands between his thighs and received Seth's semen. Horus went to tell his mother, Isis, "Help me, Isis, my mother. Come and see what Seth has done to me." And he opened his hands and let her see Seth's semen. Any comments, Dan? Like, what the fuck is this, man? All right, so now he wants his mum's help, does he? After he cuts off his head, goes, "Hey, mum, I know you just had you just had a neck for 2 minutes, but can you look at your brother's semen?"
So Seth has creeped in secretly behind Horus. He's put his penis between Horus's. He's like rubbed his penis between his legs. Horus has woken up and realized this and quickly caught the semen that came from Seth's penis. And then he's ran to his mum and been like, "Look what Uncle Seth has done. Here's his semen."
She let out a large shriek.
Ah!
That sounds like Brian the Eagle. But she seized a copper knife and cut off his hands. Horus's hands, or...
No, Horus's hands.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
She fetched some fragrant ointment and applied it to Horus's penis. She caused it to become stiff and inserted it into a pot and caused his semen to flow down into it. What the fuck, man?
Just to clarify, he's obviously Seth has tried to rape Horus. Horus has caught him in the act and caught his ejaculate. He's then run with semen in his hands to his mum, and Horus has gone, "Mum, Isis, look, Uncle Seth's done this. I've got semen in my hands." And she's panicked, grabbed the knife, and in panic cut his hands off. Because she's disgusted that he's holding the semen. She then feels bad, so she has then wanked him off into a jar.
I mean, Jesus Christ! Like, well, this is a very interesting storyline, and but I don't know how that's helped in any way. Do you know what I mean? I don't. But then again, in all fairness, I think it might be fair dues for cutting off her head like 24 hours ago. Do you know what I mean? That's fair play, you know. Anyway, afterwards, Isis tossed indeed. Afterwards, Isis tossed Seth's semen into the marshes of the Nile and devised a plan to deceive him. The next morning, Isis carried the pot with Horus' semen into Seth's garden. She asked Seth's gardener,
"What sort of vegetable is it that Seth eats here in your company?"
Can you do less of a pretending to be a fake woman? Just do like a kind of a sultry. Imagine you smoked 40 packs of cigarette a day. She's really had a bad larynx. You know what I mean? Do that.
I didn't see her like that though.
Well, no, but she just had her head removed though.
Yeah, but she's had her head stuck back on. She's all good now.
All right. Well, can you be like kind of like
what sort of vegetable is it that Seth eats here in your company? So
the gardener told her, "He doesn't eat any vegetables here in my company except lettuce." With this, Isis took the pot and poured Horus's semen over the lettuces, which is the worst salad dressing I've ever had. Later in the day, Seth returned home and ate the lettuce as he regularly did. This is like American Pie, isn't it? Oh, man. Thereupon, he became pregnant with the semen of Horus. Oh man, I'm genuinely. This is the first time I feel really stressed whilst reading out a myth.
It's funny, huh? I like it.
It's really it's layers of sexual assault and trickery, and I'm just
They
confused.
love incest. We've only done 2 Egyptian myths, and they love it, don't they? They love it.
And a lot of penises have been cut off as well, and yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so Horus has indirectly pregnated Set.
Set. Yeah, his mum has gone and impregnated Set with the semen from the jar that she just happened to keep overnight from when she wanked her son off.
I mean, if this doesn't get a 15 out of 10 for WTF, I don't know what it does. You know what I mean? Like, this is. Seth approached the tribunal and declared with confidence.
Let me be awarded the office of ruler. As for Horus, the one who is standing trial, I have performed the labour of a male against him.
And Horus spoke up. All that Seth has said is false. Let Seth's semen be summoned that we may see from where it answers, and my own be summoned that we may see where it answers. Also, that's like a tongue twister there. Let Seth's semen be summoned the way we see it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Nailed it. So basically, what I think is happening here. So Set has said, "I have performed the labour of a male against him," which is basically saying, "I dominated him in a sexual act. I was the male, therefore the more dominant one, and you can prove this by seeing that my semen is inside Horus."
and they've kind of done a recall of the cum, a total recum, and
So I
they've
think now the gods are going to be like, "Well, let's find out where each other's semen is, and if Set's semen is in Horus, then but obviously Set doesn't know that Horus caught it. Maybe I'm thinking,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
that the semen actually didn't go inside of him.
Thoth put his hand on Horus's shoulder and said, "Come out, you semen of Set!"
Nice.
It answered him instead from the marsh along the Nile where Isis had dumped it. It's just coming along.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
I'm Set Seaman. How are you doing?
Lying on the grass, and they're like, "Oh, that's not."
Like, you know, like, we've all done it. Dan, have you ever wanked off into the Nile?
No, I haven't. It's on my bucket list.
More like your bucket list. Come on, Dan, give me something for that. That was decent.
Well played. Then the god put his hand on Seth's shoulder and said,
"Come out, you semen of Horus!"
because it had been ingested with the lettuce leaves, it answered from inside Set's stomach.
Oh my god. There's so many like things biologically going wrong here, but okay.
Deeming itself too important to flow out of Seth's ear, the divine seed emerged from his head in the form of a golden solar disc.
Like a solar beam from Bulbasaur. Jesus Christ.
Thoth snatched it away and placed it as a crown upon his own head.
God! A semen crown! What the fuck, man?
Despite this damning evidence, Set somehow convinced a trio of judges to save one more final contest, a race of stone ships down the Nile. That didn't seem like the wisest choice, since Set's boat sunk instantly. But Horus's floated along the water, for he had tricked everyone by quickly making his boat out of pine and covering it in gypsum, a sort of plaster, so that it looked like it was made of stone. In a rage, Seth once again transformed into a hippopotamus and bashed his heads into Horus's ship. It came apart in splinters, exposing the young god's deceit. A back and forth had now gone on for over 80 years.
Oh my god.
Seeking a final verdict, the judges decided to appeal to Osiris, who now ruled the afterlife. Not surprisingly, Horus argued that his son, Horus, deserved to be pharaoh, and Set, in chains as a prisoner, finally conceded.
Holy shit. Like, and also, they did that for 8 years, so that all that was unnecessary. So they just kind of like, yeah, Osiris, do you want to get the final say? Yeah, all right then.
I think what happened was, after 80 years of back and forth and all this semen malarkey, the god was like, you know what? This is honestly, even for our standards, pretty fucked up. Just decide that Horus is obviously the better guy and just leave it there.
Well, like, here's the thing, right? Because we're saying I've watched a lot of Watchmen recently, and what we're saying here is like, oh, we have to trust the judicial system because that'll take the justice will come. Not come, but that's Horus and Seth. But the thing is, what's happened here is that we've mocked the Greek and Roman people for killing instantly, but they've just saved 80 years of their life. They've been doing this process for 80 years. You know what I mean? So the system's broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it didn't even work anyway because they ended up just going to a third party, like a fourth
Who
judge,
was
an independent.
and who was the
Who's
and the
the
person
son? Who's the dad?
and set and murdered him before. So yeah, I think it's kind of fair play, really. But I think we should go and rank this because I think if this is going to be the one which is closest to 40 in my mind
I would
that
agree.
we're ever going to get. So let's go and rank this. Miffs.
Okay, so we rank them on 4 categories: life skills, morals, creativity, WTF. Each one's ranked out of 10 to see how close we can get to 40. Matt, let's start with life skills out of 10.
So these are the physical things we have learned.
Practical things we learned, Matt. Start us off.
So we learned how to be part of a legal system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we tribunal.
We put in applications. We have learned the art of debate. We have we've learned how to shapeshift.
We've learned how to change into hippopotamuses.
Yeah, we learned how to hold our breath.
Yeah, we've learned how to make a copper harpoon and fire it.
Yeah, incorrectly.
Correctly, yeah.
We also learned how to cut off someone's head.
We've learned how to cut off someone's head. We've learned how to gouge someone's eyes out. We've learned how to grow their eyes back.
We've also learned how to suture a head back onto a body.
Yeah, we've learned how to stick a head back onto a body. We've learned how to sexually assault someone.
Oh my god! Well, I think that's a moral right there, and but also on top of that though, we also genuinely we've learned a lot of gardening. We've learned how to grow lotuses. We've learned how to fertilize lettuce leaves and stuff like that.
We've learned how to cut off someone's. We've learned how to cut off someone's hands.
Also, a lot of medical stuff. Like we learned how to pour gazelle milk on stuff to restore sight. We've also learned, we learned how to, like I say, cut off hands, and disposing of semen.
We learned how to make rocks, how to make stone ships how to make wooden ships look like stone ships.
We also learned how to put on how to retrieve semen and how to put it on your head.
What are you thinking? Out of 10.
This is a classic horse move, but I think it's a 10
for life skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did learn. We did learn a crap load, didn't we? Every sentence was full of like a new exciting thing we learned. Okay, Ken.
And all of it varied as well, I would say.
Morals.
So, wow, where to start? Really, it's lots of different things to kind of unpick here. Firstly, I don't know, really. As I mentioned at the end, maybe the whole judicial system is kind of like it doesn't work, it's broken. Maybe it's trying to highlight that as well. Maybe that the true justice is the ones that you can create in your own hands, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's a big moral because ultimately it didn't quite work, and they still ended up going to like someone else that wasn't part of the tribunal. They gave up essentially after 80 years,
and something they could have done immediately as well.
Yeah.
Also, tests doesn't really make you the person as well, and also they weren't genuine in their test giving skills. They were always deceiving each other, right?
Yeah. Either or, Horus and Seth were always deceiving one another in some form of shape. Also, there's something about I think this kind of goes back to the last episode as well, but there's something to do with family here. These Egyptian myths, like Isis tried to help her son, but also at times is blackmailed. Like she's also helping her brother because she, you know what I mean? It's that family loyalty thing going on. And we saw that at the beginning with the tribunal when Throth and Shu said, oh, Horus is obviously the better god. But then Ra was like, no, actually, I prefer Set. So like they've all, there's a family dynamic because they're all related to each other.
Yeah. And I also think on top of that, though, I think there's, there's morals in terms of like, don't cut off your mum's head. Don't poison your brother. Don't harpoon your son and get it wrong. Do you know what I mean? And
don't ejaculate on your nephew whilst he sleeps.
Yeah, that was really grim. That's genuinely quite upsetting as well. But yeah, it's also don't cut off your son's hands and and like don't poison your brother with semen, and I don't know. I think it's as you say, the family links are so intertwined. It really speaks volumes for lots of different stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some big stuff here. What do you think, Dan?
I don't think it's a 10, so I'm going to ruin your vibe there.
Are you sure, Dan?
I think it's like an 8 or a 9.
Should we say 9?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I'll accept a 9 because I don't think. Yeah, I agree. I don't. Okay, creativity. Should we just save everyone some time? It's a 10, mate. Come on.
it's a 10 creative. I mean, the
Come on.
challenges, the rivalries, everything we've just talked about is pretty
And
creative because they could have done it
tribunals.
so much simpler. Everything could have been so much simpler.
Like, yeah, absolutely. But that's a judgment by committee, isn't it? Yeah, I mean that is literally what's happened here. And and like everything about it so messed up. Do you know what I mean? Like it's pretty yeah, and I don't think we've seen a myth like this before. Genuinely, it's so out there, and so I think 10's the right answer.
WTF factor, that's pretty average. Maybe like a 4 or 5.
If you did that to me, I would break your fingers. So obviously it's a 10, right? Because
Obviously
like. Is it cutting off your mum's head? Semen stains. We have the semen crown. We have
going into someone's eyes.
we cut off wanking off your son and putting his dick in a jar. That's mental. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it all was for nothing as well. That's amazing. So
it even was messed up. Even at the beginning, like when Isis missed and stabbed Seth with the harpoon, like even stuff like that is so dumb. Like
that was basic level WTF, and I thought that was as far as it's going to go, and it was still going to be a high score. But then it went above and beyond. I don't think I'll ever see a myth the same way again after this. So let's add that up. So it's 10, 9, 10, 10. It makes it easy. 39, which is the highest scoring myth in history.
Ever, yeah. I don't know if that'll ever get beaten, Is there ever a perfect 10 at 40? I don't know.
I think it's impossible to get. I think that might be the highest score we can give because we rarely give 10 out of 10 for morals. It's a hard one to.
A hard one. Yeah, actually, I have to admit, even a 9 for moral, and I think that is fair. I don't know why it's not a 10. It's just.
Yeah, why is it like Dan? Why is it not a 10? What more could it give? Come on, Dan. Let's make it a perfect 40. Come on, mate.
God, I'm trying to think of why it shouldn't be a perfect 40 because it seems like such a shame to give such an awesome myth just 39.
Come on, let's make it a 40. Come on.
Do you think we should? Because there were some.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some big morals. Come on, a 9 morals may as well be a 10 because a 9 is so hard to make and not much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our first ever 40.
We're gonna make it a 40, everyone. It just felt right. Tribunal was for nothing. It's fine. 40.
10s across the board.
It's the classic 40 score tune.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm very happy with that. Oh my god, it's finally worked. After 2.5 years of doing this podcast, I finally got my desires.
No, I agree. Morals, because the more I think about it, like little things like at the end when the semen was like showed itself, and like that's a moral. This is how he tried to deceive everyone, and it didn't quite pay off. So I think we missed that when we first were going through the morals.
Yeah. So retroactively, 40, 4 marks. Wow.
Boom. I think it deserves it.
Woo! Yeah, that's made my day. That's great. What a myth, and thank you so much for that. I'm really enjoying these Egyptian myths so far, Dan.
Yeah, unfortunately, this means that this is, of course, the last ever episode of Miffs, because the whole point is to find a perfect 40. We've got that now. We can.
That's we've been trying to find an excuse for a while, so thank goodness. That's
why Matt keeps trying to give everything a 10. But no,
it's a 10.
This could have been a 45, really.
Well, why isn't it a 45, Dan? Come on.
No.
Okay. But just in case I think we might release another episode, but maybe. But we might go on.
These Egyptian ones, I agree. They're fun, huh?
And and if you would like to hear more from us, why don't you follow us at Miffs Podcast, and you can also email us. We love your correspondence at miffspodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow our fan club page, Misfits, on Facebook. We have nice chats there, and we also get some preview stuff as well. And on top of that, you can also check out our Patreon, which, to be honest, not many people have. So if you want to be the first to donate to that, you can do. And also, finally, why don't you check out my podcast called Castival, where I invite famous people to pitch their dream music festival. And also, check out my Twitch at Matt House Comedy. There you go. All the plugs done. That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Well,
also, 5 stars on iTunes.
This has been historic. You have been listening to, remember this number, 116. So it's going to be a historical one. We'll never forget this, will we, Matt?
Well, you will, but I won't. But
even I think I can remember 116 just because of the poignancy of it being our first ever perfect score.
That's, you know what, I think it's a good way to finish off this episode. And thank you so much for listening. I've been Matt Hoss.
I've been Dan Rhodes.
And thank you for joining us for a perfect boy. See you very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Miffs.